Feel the real fear with us. Unsolved mysteries and horror stories.
What is up, guys? And welcome back to Shadows Prevails. If you're someone who constantly goes down late-night rabbit holes about the strange, the dark, and the totally unexplained, you are in the exact right place. Today, we are diving into 3 stories that honestly shook me when I first researched them. We're talking about an unsolved theme park tragedy that involves a literal demonic entity and 2 stretches of highway that you could not pay me $1 million to drive down at night. So, get comfortable, lock your doors, and let's get into it. Story 1. The Luna Park incident. Okay. So let's rewind to June 9th, 1979. Sydney, Australia. Luna Park. If you've ever been to a theme park, you know the vibe. It's loud, it's crowded, and there are employees walking around in mascot costumes taking pictures with kids. Totally normal, right? Well, on this specific day, a massive crowd was lined up for the ghost train ride. In that line was the godson family, a husband, his wife Jenny, and their 2 little boys, Damien and Craig. While they were waiting, this thing walked up to the crowd. It was a guy wearing a leopard print Tarzan outfit, but his face was entirely covered by this massive, uncanny valley white mask with 2 giant horns. I cannot stress this enough. This costume was terrifying. It wasn't goofy. It didn't belong at a family park, and the kids in the crowd were visibly backing away from him. Out of nowhere, this horned guy walks straight up to the older godson boy, Damien, and just puts his hand on his shoulder. A random person in the crowd happened to take a picture at that exact second. Right after the flash goes off, the masked man leans in, lets out this distorted, sinister laugh, and says, "This is the last picture this boy is ever going to take." In the chaos of the park, nobody really processed how insane that sounded. The guy just walked away. A few minutes later, the younger boy, Craig, begged for ice cream. So, his mom, Jenny, stepped out of line to grab some. The dad and the 2 boys got on the ride. Jenny waited by the exit, but they never came out. Shortly after entering the tunnel, the ghost train completely went up in flames. It was an inferno. 7 people died in that tunnel, including Jenny's husband and her 2 little boys. When the police arrived, Jenny was absolutely hysterical. She kept screaming about the man in the horned mask, telling the cops, "He knew! He said it was my son's last photo." At first, the cops brushed it off. But here's where it gets terrifying. Investigators dismantled the burned ride and found 0 evidence of an electrical or mechanical failure. The fire defied all logic. Realizing something darker was going on, they tracked down the person who took the photo in the crowd. They developed the film, and boom, there he was, the horned figure standing right behind Damien. The police shoved this photo in front of park management, and the managers literally went pale. They swore up and down, "We do not employ anyone who looks like that. We would never allow a costume that scary inside this park." A massive manhunt was launched, but this guy, he vanished into thin air. Security never saw him enter, and they never saw him leave. To this day, true crime and paranormal communities are convinced this wasn't a man in a suit. It was a demonic entity, manipulating reality feeding off tragedy and hiding in plain sight. And the case? Completely unsolved. Story 2. The Entity of Wakehurst Parkway. All right, let's move from theme parks to something we all have to do: driving at night. There's a stretch of highway just outside of Sydney called the Wakehurst Parkway. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, the locals treat this road like it is cursed. They will literally take a 40-minute detour just to avoid it after dark. Legend says that about 200 years ago, a young girl named Kelly died in a brutal accident on this road. But this isn't your standard ghost standing by a tree story. This is pure Skinwalker-level behavior. Here are the rules of Wakehurst Parkway. If you have passengers in your car, you are safe. But if you are driving alone and you cross into her territory, this entity doesn't just stand on the road. She literally manifests inside your locked car. You'll just be driving, and suddenly, you'll see her sitting in your passenger seat out of the corner of your eye. Or worse, staring at you from the rearview mirror. The second you notice her, a clock starts ticking. You have exactly 5 minutes before this thing takes complete physical control of your steering wheel and forces your car into a fatal crash. According to the lore, there is only one way to survive. You cannot scream. You cannot panic. You have to look at her and firmly say, "Kelly, get out of the car." You have to use her name. If you tell her to leave without saying "Kelly," she stays. And you crash. It's so well known that a film crew actually tried to make a documentary about it. But before they even started shooting, the director mysteriously died by drowning. The project was scrapped instantly. Some things you just don't mess with. Story 3. The Shapeshifter of Balit Drive. Let's keep the cursed highway energy going, but we're jumping over to Manila in the Philippines, to a place called Balit Drive. This road is infamous for a white lady apparition, but paranormal researchers believe this isn't a human ghost. It's a shape-shifting, malevolent entity, like a localized demon that feeds on human fear. There are a few ways an encounter with her goes down, and they are all terrifying. Scenario 1. You're driving, and she steps directly into your headlights. Human reflex kicks in. You swerve, but the entity creates a glitch in your perception. You think you're swerving into an empty lane, but you're actually slamming head first into a massive tree. Scenario 2, which is easily the most unsettling. You see her on the sidewalk. You step on the gas. A minute later, you pass her again. Then again. You're trapped in a spatial loop. Sometimes, she'll lock eyes with you and start running next to your car. You could be doing 70 miles an hour, and she is just effortlessly gliding next to your window. And the final scenario. You see a beautiful woman hitchhiking. You feel bad, so you let her in the back seat. You drive for a bit, look in your side mirror, and you see that exact same woman sprinting behind your car. Confused, you look up into your rearview mirror to check the back seat, and the beautiful woman is gone. Sitting there is a mangled, terrifying creature with a crushed skull. She giggles, looks right into your eyes, and whispers, "You're going to die here too." Before you can even hit the brakes, your car is thrown into a barricade. Terrifying, unexplainable things out there. From what we know, there are 2 main paranormal events. But here's the crazy part. They never happen at the same time. So, here's the first one. The bridge itself is incredibly well lit. Honestly, you wouldn't even need your headlights on. But out of nowhere, right in the middle of all that bright light, Drivers claim to see the entire road ahead of them suddenly flooded with bright red blood. You pull over, your heart is pounding, you step out of your car to check, and the road is bone dry, no blood, nothing. If that wasn't enough, let's talk about the second event. Sometimes, drivers see countless little kids lined up on both sides of the road, holding hands. And this line? It stretches the entire length of the bridge. Drivers say these kids have this incredibly heavy, terrifying look of pure trauma in their eyes. It's like they're desperately trying to tell you something. You roll down your window to try and talk to them, but they just stare. And the second you step out of your car, they completely vanish. So, what is actually going on here? Local legends say that right before this bridge was built, kids started mysteriously vanishing from all over the Philippines, from tiny villages to major cities. They were just gone. The dark rumor is that during the construction, these missing kids were murdered, and their blood was literally mixed into the bricks and cement. A twisted foundation sacrifice. And that is why the Santa Monica Bridge is believed to be cursed. But why? Why murder so many innocent kids? We've heard similar dark urban legends from all over the world, but this one just feels different. Honestly, if you ever visit the Philippines, you should check out the Santa Monica Bridge. Take in the gorgeous views. But don't forget the terrifying history right beneath your feet. When you look at how massive it is, you really have to wonder how much innocent blood is mixed into that concrete. Does this dark secret have something to do with making the bridge last so long? To this day, it remains an unsolved mystery. Those are 3 reasons why I have trust issues with theme parks and empty highways. Because these events involve the paranormal, they are almost impossible to scientifically prove. But the sheer amount of people who have experienced this stuff, that's what keeps me up at night. Look, if you are listening to this right now while driving alone in the dark, please stay safe. If the vibe in your car randomly shifts, or if you feel like you've passed the same tree 3 times, don't panic. Pull over to a well-lit gas station, lock your doors, and just breathe. Alright guys, I'm wrapping it up here. Let me know down in the comments which of these stories freaked you out the most. If you enjoyed the episode, do me a massive favor and hit that like button, and share this with a friend who loves spooky stuff. Stay safe, stay vigilant, and I will see you guys in the next one. Good night.